Okay, let's start the month of April. First, Dr. Shiv Kumar Swamiji. Why is this in news? This is in news because recently birth anniversary of Dr. Shiv Kumar Swamiji was celebrated. So what are the basic things about this? So basic thing about this is he was born on April 1907 in Veerapur village of Mysore district. He is well known for heading the Sri Siddhiganga Mutt from 1941. He is also known for creating a synchronization between the traditional Sanskrit learning and the modern science technology, which he teaches in which he ensures it is being taught in the educational institutions. And he was also an award winner of the Karnataka Ratna in the year 2007, which is considered the highest civilian honor award given by the government of Karnataka. Then we have rainfall trends in Karnataka. So the year 2024 has indicated especially the first quarter has declined rainfall. So this has been given by KSNDMC. So what is it? Karnataka State Natural Disaster Monitoring Center. Karnataka State Natural Disaster Monitoring Center. So it was established in the year 1988. What are its main function? Its main function is to monitor, assess the impact of natural hazards like drought, floods, and hailstorms. Two important types of this institution are very important. One is the CEDILU and other is the Varuna Mitra. What does the app CEDILU does? It just provides the information of the lightning strikes that are predicted. And Varuna Mitra mainly provides the forecast of the rainfall that can be used by the farmers. Next is impact of integrating national and state schemes on TB fight in Karnataka. There was a recent report which suggests that the National Tuberculosis Elimination Program along with the Ayushman Bharat Agency Karnataka scheme had a positive impact on the overall management of tuberculosis patients in Karnataka. So here what are the two important things that we have to remember for the exam is that India is the highest burden TB country globally, and what are the targets of the globe and what are the targets of India. So as per WHO, the global target is to end TB by 2030, and India being much more ambitious than the global target has reduced the timeline and it wants to end TB by 2025. Then we have Karaga Festival. Bengaluru has celebrated recently Karaga Festival. So what is its significance? Karaga Festival marks the return of Draupadi in the form of Adishakti, and this festival is also a symbolism for unity between the communities, especially the Hindu and the Muslim community, because this Karaga festival also includes a visit to the Shah Sharwadi Dargah. Then we have Zero Shadow Day in news. So Bangalore has recently celebrated Zero Shadow Day on the date 24th April of 2024. So is it the first and the last for this year? No, it is going to have another Zero Shadow Day on August 18. At what time did the Zero Shadow Day happen? It happened at 12:17 p.m. in the noon. So was it only restricted to Bangalore? No, it was restricted to the latitude at 12:17, and other major cities that fall in this latitude are Bangalore, Mangalore, and Chennai. So why does this phenomena occurs? This phenomena mainly occurs because the sun reaches the position directly overhead, causing shadows of vertical objects to disappear. Means the sun is exactly on the forehead of the people, so they cannot view the shadows. The tilt of the earth 23.5 degrees Celsius around the orbit also ensures this phenomenon. National Judicial Academy. National Judicial Academy becomes important mainly because of its appointment. So Justice Aniruddha Bose has been appointed as head of the National Judicial Academy. You should also know where is it. It is in Bhopal and it was established in 1993. Then we have Doctrine of Harmonious Construction. Here, Supreme Court has laid down 8 principles of the harmonious construction. You should know what is Doctrine of Harmonious Construction. Doctrine of Harmonious Construction basically means that each and every subsection of an legislation should be individually be consistent with each other or harmonious with each other, and it also ensures that the enactment of one subsection does not impact the other. So what is the purpose of the harmonization is the doctrine aims to interpret conflicting statutes or provisions in a way that reconciles them. It prevents one part from negating the purpose or intent of the other part. To tell basically it with an example, say for example in our constitution has the provisions of right to equality, it also has the provisions of reservations. If we observe just by nature, both of these are conflicting with each other, but the doctrine of harmonious construction ensures that these two are in harmoniously with each other, and these to ensure that all the provisions remain in force without any conflict. And there is one important case with respect to harmonious construction that should be remembered, that is Tikkaranchi versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Then we have changes in the FDI policy amendments, especially for the space sector. So recently some changes were made where the ranges and the percentage of the FDI were defined. So 100% FDI is allowed in the manufacturing components of systems and subsystems associated with the satellite, and they do not require government permissions. And then we have the 74% FDI category, and it is also automatic rule where the satellite manufacturing and operations are there. So difference between 100% and 74% here is in 100% it only includes the subsystems of the satellites. Means you want to manufacture a certain part of a satellite, it is 100% FDI is allowed, while in 74% FDI satellite manufacturing, entire satellite manufacturing is restricted to 74%, and then FDI 49% with government permission is needed to invest in launch vehicles, because ISRO has a major contribution in the space sector with respect to its launch vehicles only. We have PSLV, GSLV, so it does not want to create any other competition for that much. Then we have Janta Meal Scheme. It is by Indian Railways that aims to provide affordable meals especially for the people who are of unreserved category in the train. It ensures very low prices, for example puri bhaji in 20 rupees and rupees 3 rupees for 200 ml of water and all. Now let us study about Longevity India initiative. So this is the initiative by whom? This is an initiative by IISc. So Indian Institute of Science has initiated this Longevity India initiative. As the name suggests, longevity, it means extending something. So what they want to extend here? They want to extend here human health span and address the aging issues. So this is it mainly is funded by Prashant Prakash Foundation partner at ACL India, and it wants to do research in the management of age-related diseases, emphasizing the promotion of healthy aging nationwide. Next point of discussion is Aadharshila curriculum. So first we have to know who has released this. This curriculum is released by Ministry of Women and Child Development. So what does this do? So this is then curriculum especially for the preschooling age, that is for the age of 3 to 6 years, and this is also in line with the new education policy of 2020. It is basically for the Anganwadi children, where it focuses more majorly on skill, vocabulary, and of mathematics, such things, and it also helps in social development and self-esteem development. The main aim of this curriculum is to ensure that there is a smooth transition from the lower sections to the grade 1 class of students, and it helps them in their foundation skills and also in the confidence. Then thing that is in use is Noto ID. What is this Noto ID related to? Noto ID is related to organ donation. So if a person wants to donate his organ or is want to receive some other organ, this requires generation of unique ID called as Noto ID, which expands to National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization ID, and it is mandatory for both the donor and recipient. This ensures the transparency and regulatory compliance in organ allocation and transplantation. It eliminates commercial dealings in organs, particularly involving those of the foreign nationals, because more and more issues of organ transplantation are seen with respect where foreign nationals are involved, because they provide high money and it is generally channelized towards them rather than the native citizens. Now let us read some of the economy news that is in the Media magazine. So first is the Digita, which stands for Digital India Trust Agency, who is under which it comes under Reserve Bank of India. So Reserve Bank of India is considering this Digita to combat cyber frauds, especially with respect to illegal lending apps. Like recently there is a phenomenon like of huge lending apps like pay later options and all. So those apps that are involved doing fraud in these cases are regulated by Digita. It will verify the lending apps and maintain a public register of these one. So if there is an app and it has a Digita verified signature, which means it is deemed, or else it is unauthorized. So this will also do the vetting process of the digital lending apps once it is get established. Next we have Scores 2.0. So if there is Scores 2.0, then there should be definitely Scores 1.0. So what is this Scores? Scores is a web-based centralized grievance redressal system that was launched by SEBI in the year 2011. This enables investors to lodge complaints and track the status with respect to share market aspects, such things. An investor who is not familiar with Scores or does not have Scores like lodge complaint, it could have been done in physical form that time. And now to upgrade this form, like it is Scores 2.0. So it has launched the complaint and redressal system in the name of SEBI 2.0. This is much more efficient than Scores 1.0, and it has a redressal time of 21 days. Like earlier it was 30 days. And there are two levels of review. The first level, which will be conducted by the body itself, and the second review will be conducted by SEBI. Then we have RBI policy rates. So one thing that the election has ensured is the policy rates remain what were they, means it is unchanged. So the policy rates has been remaining same 6.5% from last 2 to 3 quarters. So this has been the policy of RBI. India's $1 trillion state economies. India's Rating and Research Institute predicts that Maharashtra, Karnataka and Gujarat, these three states are likely to achieve 1 trillion economy. So we have to know about what is the target and what is the predicted here, especially for our state. So for Karnataka, the target is, our state has set the target of 2032 to 2033. It has to be $1 trillion state, and the prediction says that no, it will take little bit more time, and it is 2030 to 2039. And to achieve this, Karnataka needs to grow by 8.4% of its GSDP, should be the growth rate of the state. And recently, Karnataka has also surpassed Uttar Pradesh to become the third largest economy. Another state that can become the $1 trillion state after these three is Tamil Nadu, and that is by 2041. RBI draft rules for payment aggregators. So we don't have to study about the rules that are given, just need to know what are payment aggregators. Payment aggregators facilitate online transactions by collecting payments of merchants. They act as intermediaries between buyers, sellers, and payment gateways. Then we have a new policy, that is Bima Vistar. So it is by Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. It has proposed a 3-in-1 policy of insurance which is called as Bima Vistar. This policy aims to increase the mass insurance penetration so that like more insurance is accessible to all. It is basically called as Bima Trinity, which includes combining health, accident, and property insurance. So it has a premium amount of 1500 rupees and also has a floater family option of rupees 2400 rupees around, and it covers up to 2 lakh each. Okay, now let us study the geographical and environmental topics that are in news. First, we are studying about the GI tags. Like we have some 1, 2, 3, 4 states that have GI tag. So let us start with Assam. So the things that has got GI tag in this month from Assam is a headgear which is made up of bamboo. It is called a jappi. Then we have Bihu Dol. Then we have Bodo Dokona, which is a traditional attire. Then from Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh, we have Banarasi Thandai, which is a kind of refreshing drink. Then we have Banarasi Tabla, Shehnai, and Lal Peda. Then in Tripura, we have Pachra Kigani, which is a traditional dress, and Matbari Peda. From Meghalaya, we have Lai Rani Pottery and Chudikri. So heat waves are also in news in the month of April and May, because Indian Meteorological Department has issued a warning saying that there are going to be abnormal heat wave conditions across the country. So what is a major reason for the heat waves that we experience? First is the El Nino effect. El Nino you might have read in the NCERT, but just to briefly sum it up, it is the condition where the Pacific Ocean, especially in the central Pacific, gets more heated up and the rainfall are dragged towards that region, so that the regions of India become drier, and this is the region of high pressure. So IMD classifies heat waves based on the location. So to classify a zone as a heat wave, especially in the plains, the temperature has to be 40 degrees Celsius. In the hilly region, it has to be 30 degrees Celsius. And if the temperature normally increases 5 to 6 degrees Celsius than its average, it is also considered as heat wave condition. For severe heat wave condition, it has to be 7 degrees, and if the temperature reaches 45 degrees Celsius, it is also treated as heat wave. Next, we have heat waves there in news. I think this is studied. So then next to move to green credit program. So green credit program, like who has announced this? This has been announced by the Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So what does this intends to do? So green credit program, there are certain states like Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh that have identified around some 3,800 hectares of degraded land. So the companies that want to offset their compensatory afforestation obligations, they can plant the trees here, and for each tree planted they are going to get one green credit, which are tradable by the companies and can offset their afforestation obligations. So this project has been called as green credit program. Then we have total solar eclipse. On which date was it observed? It was observed on April 8th. April 8th, and was it observed in India? No, it was observed in Northern America, Mexico, and United States and in Canadian regions. So we have to know what are the different types of solar eclipse. First is the total solar eclipse. In total solar eclipse, the moon completely blocks the sun and causes the darkness, and we can only see the sun's corona here, which can be seen in this first image. And then we have annular solar eclipse. Annular solar eclipse occurs where the sun's center is only darkened and the sunlight is visible around it. Here in this image we can see the annular, only the sun's center is blocked and we can see sun in the form of ring shaped. Then we have the partial solar eclipse where moon partially covers the sun creating a crescent shape. So this is the one which is marked as partial. So the frequency of the solar eclipse is generally 2 to 5 times annually, and the total solar eclipse that happens in an area, it is once in 18 months, and for a specific location it is experienced once in 400 years. Then we have CDP Suraksha. CDP is basically nothing but cluster development program, which you might have known. So CDP Suraksha, the government of India has announced this new platform which mainly deals with the horticulture farmers. So what does this stands for? System for Unified Resource Allocation, Knowledge and Secure Horticulture Assistance. In this platform, this ensures that the farmers who are involved in the horticulture products, they get more amount of subsidies, means the subsidies which are given by them are, there is no middleman involved in this, so they give the subsidies through e-rupee vouchers, and this CDP Suraksha platform ensures this facility. So how this can be done is farmer login with their mobile numbers, and when they select the product that they need, the subsidy automatically gets applied, like the vouchers you have, it gets automatically applied. And then when you have to also select the location where you are going to buy the horticultural products, like for example the seedlings, saplings and all. After you do that, the and the subsidies is reflected on the screen, and then e-rupee voucher is generated, and this goes to the vendor. So the farmer has to go manually and then collect it from the vendor by paying the rest of the amount that has been substituted from the subsidy. So after he buys the product, he also has to geotag the photos and videos, and then only the subsidy amount is released to the vendor via e-rupee vouchers. So we should also know about what are the e-rupee vouchers. They are one-time payment mechanism by NPCI, and they can be redeemed without any card or digital apps, just through an SMS or a QR code services also. And how are they different is that the vendor receives the payment after the farmer verifies the delivery, and it is provided upfront subsidies during the material purchase, not before or after that. At the time of purchase, this is applied. And why they are doing so much reforms in especially horticulture section is because the horticulture crops have increased drastically from last year. So the horticulture crops have spiked from 250 million tons last year to 334 million tons this year, and the gross value addition for horticulture is also high as compared to the traditional crops. So it contributes actually 1/3 of the gross value addition of the agricultural produce to the country. So investment in horticulture and reduction of the middlemen in the horticulture is very important, and this is the step towards it. Then we have Indian Flora Online. So what is this? This is basically a platform which has been launched by CES, Center for Ecological Science of the Indian Institute of Science. What it does, it just collects the data about the different types of flowering plants and then records it. So who is heading this? This has been heading by Professor K. Shankara Rao. And does it involves the flowers from India only? No, it actually includes the data of the flowers not only from India, but also the neighboring countries like Afghanistan, Nepal, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bhutan and Tibet. Then we have the Khavda Renewable Energy Park. This Khavda Energy Renewable Park, as the name suggests, is in Gujarat, Khavda region. This is the project of Adani Green Energy Limited. This is a news because this is the world's largest renewable energy park and has a capacity of 45 gigawatt initially. And this is strategically also important as it is in the border region. This has been secured by the BSF, and it has a capacity entire to give the electricity to the entire nations like Belgium, Chile, and Switzerland. So we can understand the quantum of how capacitative this power plant is. Then we have the Global Forest Watch. So who releases this report? This is released by World Resource Institute, which is based in Washington. What does this give information? This gives the real-time information about the tree cover, forest cover, such data by using the satellite images, that too in the real time. So what is the highlight of this year's report? Basically, with respect to Indian perspective, the things that has to be observed are tree cover loss in India. There is a 6% decline of tree cover in India. And then we have carbon emission and so around 51 million ton of carbon dioxide is emitted, but on contrary 141 million tons have been removed. So we are net positive, and it is a good sign. And if we have to observe the state specific data, especially there is a great loss in the cover of especially the northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Mizoram, Manipur. They have experienced a drastic loss of tree cover. Are they the highest ones? No. Odisha has the highest rate of tree cover loss, and the main cause for this is forest fires. Then we have Mount Etna in news. First we have to know the location of Mount Etna. It is located in Sicily, Italy, and it is specifically related to the southern Alps, and it is the one of the most erupted volcanoes, and it is also designated as a World Heritage Site. So why is this in news? Because a volcanic vortex ring was formed over it, and the scientists were intrigued based on this phenomenon. So is this vortex ring formation first time seen in Mount Etna? No. There were many such observations, especially in Alaska, Ecuador, and Stromboli in Italy. Then we have fish species in the Lac Davis series. So fish species are not that important. The important thing here is Lac Davis. Where is it? It is a part of Lakshadweep Islands. It is near Lakshadweep Islands. Then Great Indian Hornbills are also in news. Why is this in news? This is mainly in news because from the Western Ghats many female hornbills are shifting their habitat. They are moving actually out of the Western Ghat region, and this is termed as worrying by many scientists. So what are the reasons? The main reasons are, first reason is the high temperature. Global warming has increased the temperature even in the Western Ghats, which has made these birds to flock away from the Western Ghats. Another one is a declining in the fruit resource, especially when the trees are being cut for the commercial activities. The fruit losses are also seen, and when their food is also under threat, so they tend to shift their place also. And another important factor is sensitivity of these organisms towards the environmental condition. They are highly susceptible creatures. And some basic facts about the Great Indian Hornbill. So it is found not only in the north, it is also found in the northeastern region and other countries of the northeast like Nepal, Southeast Asia, and Sumatra and all. And it is the state bird of Kerala and Arunachal Pradesh. You have to also know the IUCN status of this, which is vulnerable. These are highly social birds, and they live in small communities, gathering large groups whenever they see some kind of fruit tree around it. Clouded tiger cat is not that important. Just know that it has been recently discovered in Brazil, and it is found majorly in the countries of USA, Argentina, Mexico, especially in the northern and the southern American continent it is found. Then we have global mass corolla bleaching event. So US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recently declared the start of fourth global mass color bleaching event, and it has been started. So if this is the fourth one, so three should happen before this, no? So what are they? The first one, global mass bleaching extension, started in the year 1998, where 20% of the coral reefs were wiped out. Then we had subsequent events, one in 2010 and other in 2017. Now we are currently experiencing the fourth period. So what happens in this period is the coral bleaching. In coral bleaching, especially corals, basically, it is a combination of polyps and zooxanthellae. Zooxanthellae, they generally provide the color for the polyps. They also provide the food and oxygen to the corals. But in case of increasing temperature of the sea, they just move out of this, leaving the bare corals exposed, making it white color. So the vibrant colors are lost, and only the white color of the corals are left. So this phenomenon is called as coral bleaching. And what is the major reason for this global bleaching? Increasing heat waves in the water also. Then Mount Erebus is news. First thing you have to know is the location of this. Where is Mount Erebus? Mount Erebus is in the Ross Island of Antarctica. It is the southernmost active volcano globally. Why is this a news? One typical phenomenon has been observed in the Mount Erebus is that it has been eruption of gold dust. In the recent eruption, we could see the gold dust. So approximately around $6,000 of gold dust has been erupted from this volcano. So the people got interested in this mountain, and this is in news. It is also an phonolite volcano, which basically means it contains alkaline feldspar. Then we have NABARD's Climate Strategy Policy 2030. So National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development, NABARD, has released its policy of climate, especially till the year 2030, and it was unveiled during the Earth Day, and it wants to gather around $170 billion through green funding. Especially this will be contributed towards the 2.5 trillion economy by 2030, but the funds are very insufficient to meet this target currently. Then we have Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee on Plastic Pollution, that is INC Committee on Plastic Solution. Recently, the fourth session was held in Canada's capital, Ottawa. So we have to know the other three sessions which were held. The first session of this, what it is called, which is Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee on Plastic. The first session was held in Uruguay in 2022. Second was in Paris 2023. INC third was in Nairobi, Canada. Fourth one is in Ottawa, Canada, and the fifth one is scheduled to be held in Busan, Korea. So what will we do? Basically nothing, but they talk about finalizing the legal binding procedures, especially for the plastic pollution. Then we have CDRI, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. This also had its 6th edition of meeting, which was held recently. What is this CDRI? It is basically a multi-stakeholder global partnership of the governments, United Nations agency, private sector, and academic institutions that mainly focus on building a resilient infrastructure. This was mainly launched in 2019 in New York during the United Nations Climate Action Summit, and it aims to create a resilient infrastructure for development. This becomes much more important because it has its headquarters in India. India's first green hydrogen and hydropower operations has been started in Jhakri, that is in Himachal Pradesh. News is not that important. The things that is important is what are the types of hydrogen. So we have green hydrogen, which is produced mainly from the renewable sources. We have blue hydrogen, where the carbon that releases after burning the fossil fuel is stored in the sea. Then we have brown hydrogen, which is produced from the coal. Then we have grey hydrogen, that is produced from the methane. Turquoise hydrogen by methane pyrolysis. Pink hydrogen with the help of nuclear energy from H2 generation, hydrogen generation. Decline in the solar radiation efficiency in India. We recently observed increasing temperature in India, but the solar radiation has been declining. This has been observed by the Indian Meteorological Department. So this mainly impacts our capacity to generate the solar energy by the solar panels. So despite increasing temperatures, the solar irradiance or the radiation has been going down. Indian Ocean warming trends. So IITM, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, has also observed the trend of heating of Indian Ocean. So by how much it has increased? It has increased by 1.2 degrees Celsius till 2020. What is the impact this can be observed? First is the marine heat waves are generated by increasing ocean temperature. Then we have cyclone formation, especially during the winter season. Then we have the thermal expansion of water in the ocean, which mainly leads to the rise of the sea level and sinking of the coastal areas.